In Dragon Ball Super, we are currently in the midst of the biggest tournament this franchise has ever seen, with 8 different universes fighting for survival and our heroes of Universe 7 caught in the middle of it all. The tensions are high and the outcome seems uncertain, but is it really? While the outcome of this tournament might not seem totally obvious, as they can always pull a twist and have our main universe lose, the future after this tournament is a lot more clear, as Dragon Ball Super takes place in the 10-year gap after the defeat of Majin Buu and before Goku meets Oob, his future student. That ending has seemingly been set in stone, and even if there's minor changes, it's likely still going to happen, which means even if Universe 7 loses the Tournament of Power, they'll likely still survive or be wished back with the Super Dragon Balls. So if this is the case, and Super isn't yet at the time where Goku must fly off with Oob, that raises the question of what happens next. What happens after this tournament? Well, I think it's possible that Dragon Ball Super will lead up to another one, featuring the remaining universes. Think about it, why else would these other universes not be in the tournament? Sure, they created the Mortal Levels concept, and it was used to determine who would participate, while universes such as 1, 5, 8, and 12 were made exempt as a result, but that's only using in-universe rationale. The out-of-universe reasoning is what I'm more interested in here. Why did Toriyama, Toyotaro, and the additional writers choose to exempt these universes from the tournament? I think it only makes sense that they're going to do this to save them for later, after the Tournament of Power. After all, if the tournament really featured all the universes, where do you really go from there? What higher stakes can you really have? It significantly limits the scope of what the writers and Toriyama can do if they throw every universe into a single fight, especially if the stakes here are permanent. If Universe 7 wins, all the others cease to exist, meaning Goku and friends can never go on adventures to them. We will never really learn more about them, and they end up being a complete and total waste, with Toriyama and Toei hanging this awesome concept introduced in Battle of Gods right in front of us, and then quickly throwing it into the incinerator. You can already kind of make the argument that they're doing that right now with the others. After the ending of Battle of Gods, everyone was excited for the new possibilities the other universes could bring, with adventures that Goku and friends could have in them, seeing new species, new cultures, new fighters, and new abilities. All of this was a huge breath of fresh air to the Dragon Ball franchise and reinvigorated it. However, not much of that has happened since Super began, with much of that development happening in this tournament arc, so it might be unlikely that we'll really see Goku and friends having these adventures, especially if the other universes stay erased. So with 4 of the 12 universes being exempt, it still leaves the possibility of having more adventures in them, as well as another tournament in the future. Because when this tournament was originally pitched by Zeno, it was after he enjoyed watching the tournament between universes 6 and 7. Then he ramped it up by including all of the universes, which was later changed to being only 8 due to Mortal Levels. Well, maybe Zeno will like this tournament so much he'll want another one, and this time it may be for the same stakes, with the 2 Zenos desiring to only have 1 universe remaining, which means the rest of the surviving universes will likely be erased as well. It's basically a foregone conclusion at this point that Universe 7 will win if the ending of Z won't receive a massive retcon. Perhaps the Super Dragon Balls will be up for the prize again, and if so, I can only imagine Goku or the winner will wish for something noble, such as wishing back the losers and bringing them to their universe. While it would be cool to see Goku go to these other universes and explore them a lot more, I think another tournament seems more likely. While the idea of seeing these universes being explored is great, and a large part of what made people tune into Super, it's always been the back of my mind that it would never happen, that Toriyama and Toei would rather choose to keep most of the fighting and content conflict on Earth, or in a tournament than really to go and travel and learn in these other universes. This has been a trend for most of Dragon Ball since the Frieza saga, and even when they go to other places, it's very brief. And despite going to the Future Trunks timeline, most of that was Earthbound as well. So with this said, the current Tournament of Power has also felt much like an excuse for Toriyama and company to not really explore these universes, and basically wipe them out forever so we don't ever get to see it. Exploring 11 universes would likely take a lot more time and effort and interest than we've seen shown by the creative team behind Super, so it's possible that this is one of the largest reasons for the stipulations, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the same thing happen for the rest. As a result, I think this next tournament will likely be the last arc of Dragon Ball Super, or perhaps should be, because there wouldn't really be much left to do in this series. The overall world of Dragon Ball, which was made substantially larger in Battle of Gods, will have regressed and shrunk back down to being only one universe. The world will be much smaller, with far less possibilities for a good, logical story to be told. If Goku and friends will have fought and defeated the strongest adversaries from other universes, none within their own should be any threat. And even if all the other inhabitants of those universes are wished to Universe 7, it would still feel much smaller and less interesting than if those universes remained. Maybe they can do some sort of conflict or civil war within Universe 7 between those who've relocated, but that's probably about it. There isn't really much else you can do unless you introduce further multiverses and even higher gods, which might just feel a little bit too rinse and repeat by then. In either case, I suspect that there will be more to come in Dragon Ball Super after this tournament, including perhaps a final climactic tournament that will end the series, and perhaps the franchise unless we start to see more spin-offs in anime form. While I would like to see Goku and friends actually explore these worlds and go on big adventures in them, I won't hold my breath due to what we've seen thus far. Maybe Toriyama and Toei have even bigger plans than we think. All we can really do is wait and see. Hopefully this current tournament and future arcs will lead to a great climax for Dragon Ball Super and perhaps the Dragon Ball franchise as a whole. As if it is bound to come to an end, you might as well do it on the highest stage of them all. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and enable notifications so you can see all of my content right away when it comes out.
Yeah, and you better subscribe, enable those damn notifications.